Hello, Singaporeans. These days, people are saying the PAP is leaning on those friends who are social media influencers as a strategy to reach a wider, decidedly younger audience. Then, I can say the PAP may not like Ben's social club and Ben Puah because maybe the PAP only like to listen to pleasing voices? What do you think? It is very unhealthy if PAP government shut down conversations with people that have different political views. Do you agree? Right now, all the pictures that you can see in this video now are from my TikTok channel, Ben's Social Club. By the way, I had removed them because PAP may find all available methods to destroy Ben's Social Club. Yes, I am not sure. We are citizens, not subjects. We have the right to voice our opinions, to criticize PAP government without fear. We know there are Singaporeans who are scared to criticize PAP government even if they see something is wrong, scared being labelled anti-government. Is this healthy for Singapore? May I ask you? In my view, I believe we can dislike the PAP government and yet still be loyal to Singapore. Do you agree? Okay. Do you remember when there was no internet in Singapore in the old days? When for most of us, all the information and all the news we received were from the government-owned TV, government-owned radio, and government-owned newspapers. Whenever there were any political discussions, journalists will interview PAP politicians or PAP-linked community leaders. If there were discussion about the opposition, it was usually done in mockery. Our social political understanding, all the ideas, not just of what was going on, but why decisions were made and how to think, were defined by the PAP. It took us a long time to break out of that indoctrination. Until now, I think we still have not fully yet. Many of us still define our thoughts through how the PAP wants us to think. Today, there are people who just do not realize it. We have internalized these ideas so completely that we now think the PAP's authoritarian system is how things are supposed to be. Worse, we now think that the PAP's ideology is what defines us as Singaporeans. To be Singaporeans is to think how the PAP wants us to think. What do you think? And today, with the internet and social media, PAP's controls over how we think and the narratives used to legitimize their arguments have been challenged. There are now competing voices. We learn that there are other ways to think. We learn from others' experiences. We understand that politics does not need to be what the PAP wants it to be. For many, it is a struggle to reconcile what they have been taught from these new ideas that question the PAP's ideologies. The challenge is one that the PAP recognizes. In order to retain control, there are two things that the PAP typically does: regulate and, if possible, shut down dissenting voices. We have seen this so many times over the years, from the PAP suing the foreign press or limiting their publications to creating laws to do the same to local alternative media. I think it was in 2001, the PAP government enacted the Political Donation Act. It then demanded several websites register as political organizations and to submit their financial accounts to the government. I think a website, Sitcom, was told to comply or risk prosecution. Sitcom protested publicly, and its founder, Dr. Tan Chong Ki, declared that it will shut down rather than be forced to register as a political organization and accept the unwarranted investigation. Some say the Straits Times Interactive, STI, the online version of the Straits Times paper owned by the government, discuss Singapore politics too. And is it registered as a political organization? That is a question. Do you think the PAP's intent was to intimidate? Singaporeans were already afraid being known to support the oppositions. There were regular discussions whether the PAP knew who they voted for during elections. To be registered as a political organization and show the list of donors will have terrified any Singaporeans. Second, while the PAP attempted to regulate or shut down dissenting voices, they built their own alternatives. These supposed alternatives are marketed heavily and supposed to fill the space that was opening up in lieu of those not under their control. So as the PAP tried to curb the independent dissenting voices, they created their own supposed alternatives. Today, we see the same lessons repeated. For example, we saw the PAP seem to shut down the online citizen and discussions of Singapore politics from outside the island. The editor of TOC, Terry Shi, was sued by PM Lee Hsien Loong for sharing an article, and I believe most Singaporeans still remember this case, so I don't talk more on it. And so, on 1st September 2021, the judge awarded Lee 210,000 Singapore dollars in damages. Then, Infocom Media Development Authority, IMDA, suspended TOC's license and demanded they stop publishing on their website and social media for failing to review all their sources of funding. Some think the IMDA's main interest is to gain information on TOC's reader subscription framework. Alternative media platforms, headed or advised by former Straits Times journalists, PAP leaders, and bureaucrats, are now filling the space. Today, we already see and could expect more of the supposed alternative PAP media to emerge. Right now, I think we can only have real change if PAP is not the government. What do you think? Lastly, I would love to hear your thoughts on all I had said. I am Ben Puah from Red Dot United. Thank you.